Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Preacherman's post-show Talkback. We wanted to just have a nice informal little conversation, answer any questions that people have about the show, and introduce some of these wonderful collaborators that are part of this project with us. I know that people are just first kind of starting to get in the room and everything, but we'll just casually start off with some introductions and get into some questions. I'm Nicole. I go by she, her, hers pronouns. I'm located in New York City, and I am one of the collaborators that put together the Trailblazers Collective with my partner, Allie, and I will let her introduce herself.
Hi, hello everybody. Yes, my name is Allie. I currently live in the Pittsburgh region. I use she, her, hers pronouns. And yeah, as Nicole said, I'm also a collaborator with the Trailblazers Collective and get to work with these amazing folks. And I will pass it along to Shamari.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shamari. My pronouns are they, them, theirs, and I was the stage manager for the Preacherman. So glad to be here tonight, and I will pass it off to our wonderful director, Dion.
Oh, Shamari, thank you for that lovely introduction. So as Shamari mentioned, my name is Dion Barksdale Jr., and I had the distinct honor of directing The Preacherman by Mr. Cris Eli Blak. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I am based in the one, the only Tampa, Florida. I will pass it along to our playwright, Chris.
Hello. Wow. Okay. My name is Cris Eli Blak. He, him, his. I'm currently situated in Louisville, Kentucky. I had the distinct pleasure of writing a play that got directed by Dion. So, yeah. I'll pass it. I'm gonna pass it to Miles because that sermon got me. Woo! So go ahead, Miles.
LOL. Hey, everybody. My name is Miles, right? I use he, him, his pronouns. What did I do? I played Kevin, the preacher man. Yeah, it was a wonderful, great time. So thank you guys for having me. Um, oh, and I'm based in New York. Yes, but I'm at home right now. And I will pass it to Bernard.
Hey y'all, my name is Bernard Scudder. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I played Marcus. I'm based in New York, and I had a truly transformative experience doing The Preacherman, and I'm so glad that I'm here to talk tonight. And I'm going to pass it to Justin.
Thank you. I'm Justin P. Lopez, he, him, his, based in San Francisco, and was so grateful to be a part of this beautiful piece and to collaborate with all of these wonderful people. Excited for the talkback. I will pass it to Noelle.
Hey everybody, my name is Noelle Gignard, she, her, hers, and I am based in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I had the wonderful privilege of playing Marianne, the mother of Marcus, in The Preacherman by Cris Eli Blak. And Carla, girl, it's yours.
Hi, everybody. My name is Carla Joanne Rivera. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am located in New York City, and I had the great pleasure of playing Constance.
All right, I think that was everybody, right? All right, cool deal. So for folks that are watching at home, I know we're kind of having more viewers as we go along, but feel free to ask any questions in the comments, and we'll get them sent directly to us, and then we can talk about them. But in the interim, Chris, I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit about just why did you write this piece in ways that you feel comfortable sharing, of course.
Yeah, what I always, well, let me start with one saying that this cast absolutely killed it and did amazing things tonight. And I'm so happy that that their performances will outlive us all. But Constance has a line in the show that I didn't notice until tonight. And the line is, "I don't want to write these stories, but somebody has to." And it wasn't until tonight that that line hit me. And that's the best explanation about why I wrote this piece and why I write anything that I do. It's not because I woke up one day and said, "I want to write about, a predator," or, it's because I woke up one day and said, there are young men of color every single day being abused and being hurt at the hands of someone, and we don't hear about it. We don't hear about the victims of abuse and assault enough anyway. But when it comes to young men of color, it's basically obsolete for reasons that are out of my grasp. And the only way I knew how to discuss it was to do what I normally do, which is to sit down and write about it and create characters and put words in their mouth and create these scenarios just to tell those stories and let people know that they are seen and that they are heard. And it's because somebody has to, and it's because it continues to happen. It's happening right now while we have the privilege of talking and doing what we love. Someone is going through hell, unfortunately. And if my play can make someone think about that and think about what might be happening next door to them, or above or below them, or in their own family, or to their friends or people they have relationships with, then I've succeeded as a writer. And that's always my motivation, is what are people going to feel and think about when they walk out of this piece? And if it's discomfort, that's fine. If it's unsettling, okay. But as long as they walk out questioning and thinking, then I've done my diligence, I've done my job. But yeah, it just came out of the need of these voices to be heard. And this is, this play, of course, doesn't represent the wide spectrum of these things, but hopefully it makes someone think, and that's all we can ask for.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Cris. I wanted to follow up with a question to some of the on-screen collaborators dealing with this content matter that Cris has thrown at us. It's obviously heavier content matter than a lot of us have had to portray on stage or on screen. So as a collaborator in this, how did some of you approach these roles? To go to a place that you might not have had to go to. And this goes for Dion and Shamari as well. How do you go about this in a more directing and stage managing, facet as well? So kind of a two-part in that. I'll open the floor to y'all.
So I think for me, in my approach to playing Marcus, I think first of all, I had to really think about myself in the scope of the world, in the scope of who I am, in the scope of experiences that I've had. And I think going and playing Marcus, I think I knew that I wanted to have integrity and respect and also vulnerability in exploring this character, because I think it was the first rehearsal where we did the read through, and Cris, he really said to us, these are real people, and these are experiences that could have happened to someone. And even Dion, when we kind of got closer to the end of the process, he said that this someone seeing this could be affected by this, because this could be someone's story, this could be someone's experience. So really keeping in mind that I have to respect the fact that this is something that could happen and has happened to multiple people, and that it's a very serious and a very real thing. And I wanted to just be as authentic and genuine as I could, because I didn't want to overact. I didn't want to romanticize it by any means. I want it to be genuine. I want it to be respectful, and I wanted to honor those who have really gone through experiences like this. So that was my approach to it as an actor, just kind of finding those moments of genuine authenticity and really connecting.
I can go. For me personally, I still have no idea how many times I reread the play like completely and found something new every time. But I do remember that the first time I read it, I think it's halfway through Act 1 that I, as a reader, started doubting if everything that Constance believed was actually true. And that shocked me, but made her more human, because we do question, we do hear these things, and she does have the facts, but Kevin is very believable when he says that he did not commit any of this. So I took that and ran with it, with the whole, she is Alvin's voice at the beginning. Like, she heard everything that he had to say and she is defending him. But at the same time, she is questioning everything. And I went with that because, like Bernard was saying, these characters are human. Somebody is like this somewhere, and no one is certain of something 100%. There's always that little thing of doubt. So I try to make her as human as possible, but also reminding myself always that she is defending the victims. She is their voice in that moment.
I guess I'll go next. I thought Miles was going to go next. It looked like Miles was about to start talking, but I guess not. I think most people are waiting to hear what Miles is going to say anyway. But I actually had the opportunity to play Mrs. Muller in Doubt, and I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with that, by John Patrick Shanley. And it's a similar kind of circumstance in that her son is the only Black boy at the school, at the all-white Catholic school, and basically she's turning a blinded eye to the allegations of molestation that are brought to her attention on purpose. She's choosing to look the other way because this is his only opportunity of getting out of, I guess, the hood and like succeeding. So this mother, Mary Ann, completely different reaction to the news of her son being abused, and so that was a different. I guess I had to take a different approach because the two mothers were reacting so differently. So whereas the situations were somewhat similar, the approaches of the mothers, the reactions of the mothers were completely different. And Dion kind of helped me, or guided me, or instructed me to like not, I guess maybe not go straight for emotion right away, especially in that last scene, because I guess as Marianne is processing that, the fact that her son, as she knew him, is no longer that person. There's a lot of layers there. So I guess my first tendency was to go straight for, emotion, but Dion challenged me to not do that way, because she's a human being and she's going to process it, and she's going to put more blame on herself at first, as being like Constance has a line when she's talking about all those that failed these boys. And Marianne is one of those that failed them. Kind of, in that she's going to be an advocate now that she knows, but originally she should have had her eyes more open. She tried, but she should have had her eyes even more open, and something her spidey senses were telling her in scene 4 that something was off. And she just kind of like, okay, well, it's a sign of your age or whatever. But yeah, so I feel like the approach that I took with this character had to be different. I've never experienced what Marianne has experienced. So I did not know firsthand what that was like. And I think many of us hopefully can say the same. But I was able to, I know what it's like to feel helpless. And I feel like Marianne's character felt very helpless, especially at the end. She felt wounded and defeated. And I certainly know those feelings. So I think I was able to approach the character in that way, but at the same time, not immediately going for the, falling to pieces. She still tried to remain stoic to an extent at the end while still processing what had happened to her baby boy.
Yeah. Oh, Miles, you can go ahead. I saw
Oh
you.
no, I mean, okay. Wow. Okay. So for me, it started with research, definitely, because despite what you may have heard, I'm not a 50-year-old man. So yeah, much like Noel said, I was familiar with Doubt, and like I had already seen it before, but I watched it again and again, and really paid attention to each character every time that I watched it, and I didn't just focus on um, like one specific person. It was different each time, and like not to emulate what they were doing or like the choices that they made, but just to see, okay, this is how they did it, and now how am I going to differentiate and make it my own? Um, so yeah, definitely started with research and then using a little bit of my own personal experience, being someone on the receiving end of abuse and going through that. It, I mean, it's a lot to to process and deal with. Um, but I also think that made it much more truthful. So I'm glad that I could call upon those moments and actually incorporate them into the performance. Um, and yeah, so other than my research and like compiling all of these memories and actually using them to tell this beautiful story, um, yeah, I don't know. The words really helped a lot. Like, um, um, I I love words of all shapes and forms. So like the words, what Chris did, I really can't even explain it. It's like the way that he married the words together and they flowed. It was like looking at music. So every time I read it, it was like, oh, this is a new note. Oh, is that middle C? Like it was so weird the way like it sounded so melodic to me. And I often got in sort of a rhythm, and Dion can tell you, like, Miles, we're going to break it up. Like you can't keep doing the same thing. But I don't I really I love the way that it struck me, and I will forever be grateful. So yeah, enough of me. But thank you.
Yeah, I will echo what everybody has said in terms of process, but I wanted to speak to a different side of it, which was approaching this type of a show while working from home. And it was it posed a unique challenge, which for me, I had to remind myself, I am at work here. I'm you don't have the energy of your castmates to kind of rely on and uplift yourself. So each time when I would log in, I would go on a little commute, which was go downstairs to the bottom of my apartment, go upstairs, log in my computer. And that was my commute to kind of center myself here, and focus on being at work. So that way, when I got off rehearsal, I wouldn't have to carry those really, really intense emotions and feelings to my bedroom. Um, and really just focusing on self care as well, in terms of connecting with my breath, connecting with my body while I was working on this type of a show. So yeah, those elements were really important to me.
Well, everyone, you're gonna make me cry tonight. I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna get me. I want to start by saying that all of you did an amazing job. And every single rehearsal, you grew more and more and more. And it was so fulfilling to watch all of you really come into your own and come into these characters. And something that I know I said so many times, they're probably sick of me hearing it. But that this is the world premiere of this play. No one has ever done this before. So I challenged each and every actor to bring their own personality, bring their own, like leave their own mark on each of these characters. Because whenever anyone now thinks about the Preacher Man or reads it, they're going to see your faces. and they're going to remember all the things that you have done in this show. So kudos to you. First of all, hats off. Great job. I will say that um, it wasn't challenging at the beginning, at least to kind of where I wanted to take this. I felt as Cris outlined it really well. It was really, really clear to me how I was going to approach it. I wanted to make sure that I did this with as much integrity as Bernard and Justin and Noel, Miles, Carla, everybody has already echoed. Authenticity and integrity. This is something that I know these people. Everybody that was in this show, I know them personally. And so it was important for me to make sure that their story is being told as authentically as possible. And although authenticity is subjective, my definition of it is to be true to that character. If they are having a moment, have that moment, like feel that deep down. Like if you need to take a second and, like have an internal thought and then externalize that, take that moment, because it is going to be what makes it read so much better to the audience. And I think that each and every one of the actors brought something so specific and so unique to each of their characters that it really was like a symphony for me, at least watching it. And it was so it took me somewhere else. During rehearsal, as everyone would tell you, when I could not speak English, all I knew was to just tell them to rely on what they already have and what they have already brought to the character. I will say that, of course, we would have loved to have been doing this in a physical way, but because we had to do it this via, I call it TV and film, it was an adjustment period for everyone, but I think everyone adjusted really well, and it was things that none of us knew were going to become an issue until the very end, and everyone handled it so well. But it really truly was amazing, and I had fun every single night. There was not a night where I was like, oh, here we go with this. I really enjoyed it, and I think everyone came with a really positive attitude, and everyone was ready to work. No matter how much I wanted to shake up what they already had going. Yes, Miles already mentioned it. But I think I had something for everyone. I was like, I know you think you know what's going to happen tonight, but let's shake it up just to keep things interesting. And so I think everyone did an amazing job, and all of you brought such a light to this play. And I think that, I don't know, I think that everyone who watches it will get something really, really different each time. So thank you all for that. Make me cry. No tears.
Wow, yes. I just want to echo everyone's sentiment regarding this play and this process, and something Dion was saying about how these performers brought so much of themselves to these characters, and the bravery that takes, and the vulnerability that takes to attack this play in a room 3 hours at a time, day in, day out. I just, in all of these collaborators, because it's such a significant thing, especially for a play of this caliber, not only in the quality of the writing, but the significance of the story, for us to bring ourselves to the piece, but also it's so delicate to sort of sit in these characters and sit in this world. And sometimes it could be very sad. So my approach to, being in a room, organizing a room, managing a room, however you might look at it, is always to honor the play, honor the work, and honor the people, not only to the point of the people doing the work, but the people outside of the work. And I'm just so happy that I've gotten to know everyone in this space right now. And it's so important, especially, working from home, being in a pandemic, and what that means for, being an artist in this time to give each other and ourselves grace and to accept that grace. And I think that was sort of a definitive part of this process. So just wanted to put that out in the air.
I just want to say that as someone who doesn't consider themselves a performer, I'm just in awe of you all and the work that you did. And Cris, your writing, and Dion, your directing, and Shamara, your stage managing, and your Nicole being such a wonderful artistic director and producer and all sorts of other things. It's really, this is what I wish my actual job was. It's not, but I wish it was. It's so special to me. It's so important to me, and to collaborate with you all and work with you all and just see how talented you all are and the life you gave these characters is just incredibly inspiring. And putting this message out there is also incredibly inspiring. And I deeply appreciate you taking that on. I know it's a lot. And yeah, just eternal gratitude to you all. Thank you.
We did have a question come through. Some of you guys have kind of answered this a little bit in your answers already, but if anyone wants to add anything onto this one, we did get a question come in. How emotional was this piece for the actors? If anyone had anything else to add on to what y'all have already said.
I think to kind of touch on what Justin was saying about doing this from home. When it came to Marcus, my little setup is a blue screen, a ring light, and I'm kind of sectioned off in this little space that I'm in. But every time I had to leave this space, I had to remind myself that the things that I was feeling and the things that I was processing, that I had to kind of go through it and feel it and then leave it behind and leave it with the work. And I think especially being at home, and doing such a heavy play, I had to find the moments within my day, even before I went to rehearsal, where I could uplift myself and take care of myself, even after the rehearsal, getting proper sleep, doing things to make myself feel better. And I felt like self-care was a really important part of the process for me, because in exploring all these different avenues of a character like Marcus, I knew that I had to be very careful with how I expended my energy. So that was something that was very, very, I guess I had to be very hyper aware of just how I was expending energy, what I was doing throughout my day to help feed my artistry when I was, recording scenes or in rehearsal and doing those things. And I think, I was very fortunate in the fact that the cast and Dion and Shamari and Nicole, all the people in the room, we all supported each other. Even if we weren't in the same physical space, we were all offering support. We were all constantly uplifting each other. So I could feel the love and I could feel the energy. And to cultivate that environment, even virtually, was such a beautiful thing, and definitely helped ease some of the kind of the daunting feelings and emotions that would come up during certain scenes and certain things. So that was just to add on, I guess, on that topic. That's something that really stuck with me.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Bernard. And we've got one last question before we all break here tonight. You guys have gotten a lot of praise about working well together. Has the cast worked together before this? Does anyone want to speak to that?
So Abel and I, he's not here tonight, but Abel and I actually uh, went to college together, and he's a really good friend of mine. And so working on this project with Abel, especially with characters like Marcus and Harold, and sort of building this friendship, this new friendship, it was a really interesting process. And outside of rehearsal, Abel and I, we met, we'd FaceTime and we'd go over scenes, and we'd constantly talk about the importance of their dynamic and really highlighting that, but also making it feel authentic and real. And just the fact that, these are, at one point, I was Marcus. I was an 18-year-old brown boy running the streets of New York in high school, hanging out with my friends, doing all these things. I have cousins who are Harolds, who are other Marcuses. Like that was the for me as a young brown boy who just a couple of years ago was in this age. It was very important that I honored that, because I knew what that was like at a time. So doing that with Abel brought even more of the strength to us building Harold and Marcus.
Awesome. And I guess to answer for the rest of the cast, for those of you wondering out there, pretty much everyone else is coming together for the first time in this virtual platform. No one has even met each other in person. So that has been an interesting challenge when you don't even get to ever physically share a space with your scene partner. But what an amazing job they did traversing that along the way. So thank you all so much for your honesty as actors and playing in this space with us as well. So Allie, I will turn it over to you for some final thoughts of the evening.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you all for sharing. I do want to give some space if folks want to give some parting thoughts, words of wisdom, congratulations to each other, whatever you're feeling, whatever, hopefully good feelings you're feeling at this moment.
Well, I want to say thank you, because it was honestly for me, just rehearsal was a joy. Just being able to interact with other actors and other creative people, it was amazing, and I'm going to miss seeing you on a daily basis.
Oh, Carla. Yeah. You guys are gonna make me cry. I swear I'm not gonna cry tonight. I want to thank all of you. Thank you all, Nicole and Allie and Chris, for entrusting me to direct this piece. You're trusting me with your baby, and I am in the midst of writing a musical myself, and I could not imagine the anxiety that you go through once you are at a part in your process where you are giving it off to someone to show. So thank you for entrusting that in me. Shamari, shucks, I don't know what I'd do without you. You really held me together, honestly. We should be thanking Shamari for everything that they do, because honestly, it's bravo. Please, thank you. I'm embarrassing them, but that's okay. I want to thank each of the actors. Thank you so much for allowing me to be in your creative spaces. That truly is an honor, because I am an actor first and director second, and I know that being in your space when you are being as vulnerable and like authentic as you have been is really difficult. And then to get feedback on some choices that you think were really, really good, and then I'm like inputting my opinion that doesn't always matter. Thank you for that. That really did like help me grow as a director and as a human, as an artist. I just want to thank all of you. And Chris, for your amazing play. I will say, I have been traumatized so many times as a performer, being a part of things where a lot goes down on stage. Like I've been a part of shows where they show everything that happened, and we experience that. And I thank you for putting this piece that was not as traumatic on us. We still got the same feeling of the heaviness of what's going on without having to be traumatized on stage. So thank you for that. I know that is truly a talent that not everyone possesses. So I just want to give thanks to all of you here tonight and our brother Abel, who could not join us. But thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, I second all that. I want to thank everyone who is with us tonight. I want to personally embarrass Miles for a second. So this is actually Miles and I's second show together, which I didn't know when he auditioned. I didn't realize he was in another show I had written at the same time. He was in my show Pocketbook, and he's in this show. And I think he knows this. I hope he knows this. But we both have received a residency, the Foster's Theatrical Artist Residency, me as a playwright, him as an actor. And so we will be working together again in a couple weeks, which I'm very excited about, on a new play in development. I just wanted to call out Miles. But thank you to all of you. This was a truly beautiful thing to witness come to fruition. You know, like I said, I wrote this show in August of last year. And I remember sending it to a festival and getting a rejection back, a very detailed rejection. And what the rejection said was, you have to choose what you want this story to be about. Do you want this story to be about abuse, or do you want this story to be about family and friendship? And I sat with that, and like all rejections, I accepted it. But then I thought, why can't it be both? Because life for a lot of people is both of those things and all those things and more things. Because someone who is abused doesn't just live in their abuse. That isn't their whole story. There are people in their lives and there are extensions to that story. And also Dion's point, I never wanted to write something that glorified abuse. I never wanted to write something where someone would come in and have to see the act. I don't think that's necessary. I think that Bernard saying his lines in that final conversation with Abel was all you needed to see his hurt. I think that Noelle speaking in that final scene was all you needed to see for her hurt. I think Alvin's scene was all you needed to see to understand what happened. And just listen to people. Just listen to people. Ask people if they're okay. Believe people. We live in a society where we promote talking and speaking, and we had a moment where people were able to voice their experiences. But at the end of the day, most of the people who were able to voice their experiences were successful celebrities who wouldn't have suffered otherwise. But we need to listen to the waitresses, and we need to listen to the people on college campuses and in the military and in the, you know, in the spaces that aren't given the same amount of attention, the people who won't tell on their boss because they need the job to feed their kids. We need to listen to those people. We need to listen to the young people, the young men, the young women, the young non-gender conforming, because if we don't listen to them, they're not gonna feel like anyone cares, and they're not gonna feel like their voice and their story matters. And so, if anything is taken away from this show and the beautiful work that all these actors and this team has done, is listen to people, believe people, and lead with love, and know that whatever happens to you isn't your fault, is no fault of yours, and that there's a future, and there are people who love you, and there are people who will listen to you and speak to you and speak on you. And I am so truly blessed, for lack of a better word, to have this play placed in the hands of you all. It couldn't be a better bunch of people. Again, these performers, I don't have to hide the fact that, you know, the performers you see on the screen, and of course Abel, when you guys came in, there wasn't really much discussion after you guys came in about who was going to play these parts. You know, remember when Abel auditioned, we were like, yeah, that's Harold, and so on and so forth. It wasn't much conversation past that, because you guys brought it from day one, and it only continued to elevate and escalate and grow in beauty and dedication. And I truly appreciate that, because you could have come in and you could have bullshitted around and been like, okay, I'm an actor, I know how to act, I'm gonna do the show. But you guys put in that time, so much time, for weeks, doing everything you can, uh, and that I really appreciate that. And of course, Shamari, who really is a master organizer. All I have to do is go to my Gmail search thing and type in Shamari's email, and the multitude of emails that I received, this reports and questions, and not to mention the group chats, and Shamari constantly making sure that everything was just in operation. And of course Dion, who really carried the show on his back from day one and understood it. And from our first interview with him, stated his value of creating a safe space. That was his thing, was I want to create a safe space. And he's clearly meant that and clearly achieved that. And no matter what was going on, he made sure that this show went on. And I really appreciate that. Like, honestly, I really do. You are equally a director and an actor, and you proved that with this show. So keep directing and keep creating safe spaces. And then, of course, lastly, to Nicole and Allie, who are, just the guardian angels, who came out of nowhere, and were like, yeah, we like this show and we want to do the show and we want these voices to be heard. And that is their mission of their collective. And it's such a great mission. And they are truly, you have theater companies who are like, we're for diversity. And it's like, okay, sure. But they are really they are really dedicated to it. And every step of the way was, how can we do this the right way? And constantly checking in. So thank you, Nicole and Allie, for letting the show have a home, letting this baby be born. It is very humbling, and yeah. So this, I have nothing but thanks.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that, but I just want to say thank you, everybody. Specifically, Allie, Nicole, Dion, Chris, Shamari, especially because I originally applied to be Marcus, so I was really shocked when it was like, no, we're calling you back for Kevin. I said, I didn't know whether to be offended or flattered. It was like, does that mean I look old, or what's the deal here? But no, I now know that like that it was a great responsibility, and like it means that you guys could trust me. And so I thank you for trusting me with Kevin, because it wasn't it wasn't easy, but I'm glad that I did it. And to call you out, Chris, thank you for letting me know that I can memorize something like that, because like I don't know, like when I first saw it I was like, okay, whoa. But like I said earlier, I really do love words, and I'm a writer myself, so like whenever I see words, it's easy for me to memorize them. But I don't know. I'm a big thinker. So like when I'm not thinking about something, I always feel like I can't do it, or like I don't know it, excuse me. So yeah, it was just refreshing to know that like that was something that I could still do. And like it only took me, I don't know, a day to memorize. Like so thank you for that. And thank you to Justin, Noel, Bernard, Carla, Abel, who isn't here. Thank you all for bringing your truth. And making your choices and letting me feed off of you as much as I can in the virtual space. Um, yeah, I'm not going to go on a tangent, not going to get emotional, but thank you all.
It was my first time working with this cast and crew as a whole, but 'twas not my first time working with Ellie and Nicole. I did a show with them back in December called the Holiday Extravaganza. And it was like a Christmas holiday show that they allowed for. Now, this is how I knew that this company was going to be different, because they asked for holiday and or socially conscious pieces. That's not usually something you put together. So I did. I did a Christmas song, a gospel Christmas song, and then a piece about a very fiery, very in-your-face piece about a Black police police brutality and social injustice and George Floyd. And so it was the kind of event that those pieces joined together worked for. So shout out to Allie and Nicole. Thank you again for the opportunity to work with the Trailblazers Collective again, to Dion, to Shamari, to Chris. I never met you in person, man, but thank you so much for giving us these words and allowing us to bring these words to life. Like, world premiere of a production, that is huge. And we all get to say that we were the first cast, as Dion often told us. Thank you, Dion, for challenging me. Thank you, Shamari, for being just like, you're just the best. And I probably might be contacting you for something I got going on later. Okay. I have my people call your people. And thank you again to the Trailblazers Collective for allowing me to just to perform in various ways. I don't know if y'all caught that, but that was me singing for the credits, and I was glad to be able to do that. And so to Constance, thank you. Bernard, thank you. Justin, Abel, who's not here. Miles, we never had scenes together, but thank you so much. I was blown away by your performance, and I just appreciate all you guys. And yeah, let's just keep doing this. I feel very charged up, very inspired. I write as well, so I look forward to hearing about Dion's show. Justin just did a show. Who else got shows coming up? Let's do it. My show will be out probably in the fall or so. So let's do it. Let's continue to work together.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone here. I mean, Ali, Nicole, thank you so much for putting on this project, like, and just having faith in Chris's work. And Chris, I tell you, I am constantly so moved every time I revisit the script. And even I remember looking at the audition sides and thinking to myself, this is something that if I'm gonna do this, if I'm gonna audition for this, if I'm gonna take these words, I have to give it my all. I have to honor it. And I feel like I really learned, not that I didn't understand the importance of honoring the text and the importance of telling the story, because of course as an actor that's always a priority and always an important thing, but the level of connectivity and sort of proximity that I had to Marcus, it was something very touching, and it transformed me, and I'm very moved by the work that I was able to do. And I really thank you for crafting such wonderful words that also allowed me to think of facets of my life. And I love this show because it opens conversations, especially within the Black community, where I love Marcus's big thing, his line about real men don't do this, real men don't do that. And it's because, we do face such toxic behaviors and cultures that kind of tell us as young brown men, especially, that we can't be vulnerable and we can't expose ourselves to vulnerability and speaking and coming out about these things. So I thank you so much for crafting such words to tell that so eloquently. Dion and Shamari, I love you both so much. I mean, the amount of care that you both put into crafting a safe space, I can honestly say there's maybe been one or two other directors that I've come across in my career that have worked to cultivate that and create that. And it's refreshing and it's wonderful. And I'm so thankful for you both. There have been several occasions where I've just kind of just been in disbelief. And to my wonderful cast, I love each and every one of you so much. I know Abel's not here, but I speak to him every day. But Justin, you are riveting and fantastic. Noelle, uh, at some points in doing the scene, I know it's a scene, but I thought you were my mom at some points. I was like, this is my mom. We had that instant mother-son connection. Miles, your work ethic is so fantastic. And doing work with you and doing those scenes, you know, aside from the content and our two characters, I love working with you. And I constantly am driven and feel such passion in the work that you do. And Carla, I love your work so much, and I'm so glad that I've been able to be a part of this process. So thank you, everyone. Yeah, that's all for me. I just had to give my praise, but I love you all very much, and I'm so glad I was a part of this process. You all are truly fantastic people.
I'm not going to say much. I just wanted to say just two words, just gratitude and inspired. That's just sums up how I'm feeling right now about all of these people. So, yeah.
All right, any other parting thoughts?
COVID has been like, I mean, a blessing in a way to artists. I mean, I don't know if anybody believes this but me, but like, I feel like whereas our work has been, you know, shut down in a lot of cases, it's also forced us to think outside of the box and to find ways to do things. Like, who would have thought that you could actually pull off a full production pretty much virtually? So COVID has forced us to really just embody the phrase "the show must go on," like, and it has gone on, and it will continue to go on. So I appreciate the inspiration that this pandemic has brought to me personally as an artist to think beyond barriers and to find new ways to create things and to provide inspiration and motivation for an audience that's out there and will still listen. So that's all I had to say. Okay, I'm done.
Well said, Noelle. I'm done. I swear, I'm done. But the last couple of days, nobody knows this except for the four that are up here, and I think Cris. But there's been a lot of hard work behind the scenes. So thank you, Ali, for the editing of everything, and the mixing and mastering, and Nicole and Shamari for the backgrounds and the songs and stuff. Yes, that was all of wrong way. This way. Yes. So thank you. Yes.
Yeah, just to let everyone who's watching know, this was our third production ever as a collective, and it was the first one we've ever done pre-recorded. And it's funny because I think that we initially thought that it would be, you know, for lack of a better term, easier in a way, at least for, you know, getting it out there, having everything prepared. You know, you can't always rely on the internet connections for everybody, including ourselves. And so we had it pre-recorded, and then afterward we were like, oh, like this is still a lot. I mean, it was such a great experience and a lot of hard work and a lot of learning and so many great things. So, but yeah, I implore everyone who's watching to check out the Trailblazers Collective, to follow these folks and the work that they're doing. You can see their actor bios on our Facebook page and our Instagram, and you can see past performers in past production programs and all those good things. And please consider donating. The dollars that you donate will benefit us so we can continue to put on shows in the future. For the actors as well, and also Echo Kentucky, which is in Louisville, which is where Cris lives. And yeah, a lot of exciting things happening here and happening in the future for the Trailblazers Collective and for all the folks here in the room. And yeah, just I can't one up anybody in what they said. I think I'm just gonna go sob for a while. But again, thank you all for being here. Thank you to our viewers. For those that are watching or maybe didn't get to finish watching, I know it's a little late depending on where you are, but we will have the show up until midnight tonight. And we will also be streaming it again next weekend, Saturday April 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you missed it, if you want to share it with people and be like, please watch this, please do. There are Facebook events for it. It'll be the same as it was tonight on Facebook and YouTube. So again, thank you. And unless we have other thoughts here in the room, thank you. So grateful. Please listen to people. Please take care of yourself. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye, everyone. Have a fantastic